my song.
All of Jessica Leia's music that you hear on Me and My Song is available for purchase online. And now, please enjoy the show.
Someone kept trying to get me to agree to making a baby, and I was like, no, no way. And that's why this month's song, Sad Smile, was ever even born. That's a different kind of baby. Now, I don't mind going through the motions of making a baby, but the actual production of an entirely new life is a whole different story. But that doesn't mean that I ain't wound up in relationships with folks who feel totally different about the whole baby making thing than I do. And fewer things baffle me more in this matrix than this insatiable desire felt so strongly by so many humans to mass produce themselves. But I'll tell you something, if there's something that's more baffling than this strong desire to procreate in and of itself, it's the nonchalance with which so many humans approach the matter. Some people announce that they're going to make a baby with the same emotional intensity that they show at a drive-thru.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a baby. With a side of rings, please.
Yeah, a side of dark rings under your eyes. Because you're never gonna get a chance to sleep again. By the way, I don't condone ordering babies through the drive-thru. Just in case there was any confusion about that.
What do you mean? You're gonna have a baby?
That's a big f***ing deal. That's a whole other life you're bringing into the world. A whole life that you are completely responsible for. And that needy little life form is gonna be helpless for years. If it comes out kind of broken or anything, it could be helpless for its entire life. And if you mess it up for whatever reason, it can also be helpless for its entire life. You will mess it up, by the way.
Aww.
Guaranteed. The most thankless job in the world, being parents. The irony of the situation that I found myself in when I wrote this month's song, Sad Smile, was that the person that I was with, who was peer pressuring me and guilting me into trying to make a needy little life form, didn't even really like kids at all. We'd be around a bunch of little rugrats, and it would drive this particular individual crazy. And when those particular situations occur, this particular individual would admit that maybe it wasn't an entire life form that was desired. And then of course, I would take advantage of the opportunity to point out that maybe it was just, wanting to have a little baby. Because little babies are so cute.
And you could dress them in little baby clothes. And they make little baby noises. And you could cuddle with them, and they smell so good.
But eventually, as I would point out in the conversations that we would have about this subject, those babies start to talk. And they stop smelling good pretty early on. And it's gonna reach a certain point when they have absolutely no interest in cuddling with you whatsoever. So, not sure what you're going for there. Can you imagine me as a parent? I never wanted to have kids. I actually didn't even realize until my teenage years that there were girls and women in the world who actually wanted to make needy little life forms. Up until that point, I just assumed that other women were like me and only wound up having little needy life forms because they got peer pressured into it. I think they actually wanted to have children. They were just caving to convention and then, accidentally doing it sometimes. Mind-blowing. Seriously, I suck at keeping plants alive. Oh, shit.
Breathe, damn it, breathe.
like the absent-minded professor at home, so if I had kids, I'd be like locked away in my office for 3 days nonstop. All of a sudden, one of my kids would come in and say something stupid like, "I'm hungry." Didn't I feed you yesterday?
Yeah, but I need your help today.
You're old enough to make your own food.
That's why I need your help. There isn't any food.
Well, go buy some. Don't you have a stinking job yet? It would suck, man. Those needy little life forms never stop bothering you. I'd be editing some video or working on a song or something, and one of those needy little life forms would come in and ask for help with something stupid like tying their shoe. Why don't you know how to tie your damn shoes yet? Oh. Like that's an excuse. Not an excuse. The fact of the matter is that all you breeders out there don't want to make babies with people like me. I do not want to take care of needy little life forms. Don't get me wrong. I think they're fantastic. I just don't want them all up in my grill 24/7. And no partner would want for me to have that either, because even though I would totally take full responsibility for any needy little life forms that I created, if someone coerced or manipulated or pressured or guilted or even just talked me into taking on that responsibility when I didn't really want it, well, there would be some resentment there. And I would be walking around with a sad smile because I would love the shit out of those needy little life forms. But I would hate that I had to give up a whole other life that I felt that I came to the planet to live in order to take care of them.
Those needy little life forms, needy little life forms.
Now, in this particular situation in my life that inspired this month's song, Sad Smile, I wanted to be fair. And so I honestly and genuinely agreed to think about the prospect of child rearing. Even though I knew my whole life it wasn't something I wanted to do, and even though I had clearly articulated that throughout the course of the entire relationship I was in, I was feeling bad that this other person wanted this thing so badly. And so I seriously, really genuinely considered it. Like really seriously considered it. Mulled it over in my mind.
Really seriously thought about it. Really seriously thought about it.
And I actually started catching myself thinking really defeated thoughts like,
oh, it's not like I'm being successful in my life anyway.
And
at least this would really make my partner, really happy.
Side note, no, it wouldn't have. And thinking other dumbass thoughts too, like, well, it's what everybody else does, so maybe I should just also. And once I started thinking like that, a red alert must have gone off in the universe because I got a message. Oddly enough, I don't remember where I was or what was going on or what I was doing when it happened. But I was just minding my own business, and all of a sudden, I shit you not, I popped into an alternate timeline. Boom! There I was, standing in my alternate timeline living room with my alternate timeline wall heater on my left and my alternate timeline living room chair in front of me. And in that chair was my present timeline partner holding our alternate timeline baby.
What?
You said it. And surprise of all surprises, walked in my alternate timeline 2 or 3-year-old son. What? 2 little needy life forms? WTF, man. Anyway, this alternate timeline 2 or 3-year-old son made it known that he wanted me to pick him up, But his alternate timeline little hands were filthy. Filthy dirty. I don't know what he was doing in that alternate timeline. So I started teasing him and I was like, there's no way I'm picking you up with those filthy little paws of yours. And the look he got on his face when I said that totally broke my heart because I had hurt his little feelings. I couldn't stand it. So I knelt down and I grabbed his filthy little alternate timeline hands and I started kissing him. I swooped him up and I said, oh baby, I will always hold you no matter how filthy you are. And as I was hugging and rocking him, I caught eyes with my partner in my alternate timeline living room chair and we smiled at each other. And I could feel so much love everywhere. I was so in love with that little baby boy that I was holding and smiling as I looked at my partner who I loved so much, who was sitting there, loving the two of us back, holding our alternate timeline baby. And we were all so in love with that alternate timeline baby. And the love was real. It was palpable. I could authentically, genuinely feel it everywhere. There I was with my partner and our two needy little life forms. And I was totally content and filled with tons and tons of love. And that's when the universal intercom switched on and the intergalactic voiceover came on the overhead and said very clearly,
This is not what you have come here for.
and I knew completely then that I've never wanted to have children because I'm not supposed to have children. But the universe showed me in that alternate timeline experience that creation and reality is expansive enough that if I had chosen to do so, I certainly could have made some needy little life forms and could have found happiness there. And God would see that it was good. But that was simply not what creation had lined up for me this time around. Creation was like, whatever, bro. It's a free will universe. Do what you want. It's not what your bitch ass was trying to do when you came here, though. Because creation is kind of thug life. Sometimes creation was a little thug. I've spoken with tons of breeders about their breeding habits, especially during the time when I wrote this month's song, Sad Smile. Because, I was mulling it over, and you should interview people who have done the thing that you're thinking about doing so you could get some answers, right? And I noticed this common thread where they all kind of said the same thing, which was that, oh, it's really hard, but it's so worth it. I'm really glad that you feel that way too, because you actually did it. So it's good that you think it's worth it. Sometimes y'all be trying to peer pressure us non-breeder folks into doing something we don't want to do. And you'll say shit like, oh, you should have kids. It'll change you forever. Yeah, exactly. Or sometimes you breeders will make us non-breeders out to be inferior, and you'll say stuff like, you don't know what love is until you've had a child. Oh, really?
Awkward.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. My favorite is, oh, you don't have kids? Ah, it must be nice to have nothing to do all the time. But I do, actually, believe it or not. Yeah. Mostly it's just me sitting around all day, like twiddling my thumbs. And I usually think like, man, I sure wish I had some babies right now so I could have something to do. If what you meant when you said that was, Oh, it must be nice when you get home from work at the end of the day and there aren't a bunch of needy little life forms trying to paw at you, vying for your attention. Well, yeah, that's great. It's f***ing fantastic. It is nice. It's really nice. Thanks for asking. Okay, all right. I'm not trying to separate us into breeders and non-breeders. The shape-shifting reptilians have already done a fine job of that. I just sometimes get horrified at the thought of how close I came to getting pressured into making a baby. God, it's terrifying.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm okay. It's okay.
Like the lyric in this month's song, Sad Smile says, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just something I've never longed to have. I realize that a lot of humans do have this compulsion, this drive to procreate, to make needy little life forms. Don't have it. It's not here. You know, my uterus has it sometimes. I know, because I can feel it. It's like, let's make a baby. And I'm like, no. Fortunately, once upon a time, when I came as incredibly close as I will probably ever come in my entire life to actually making a needy little life form, the universe stepped in and slapped some sense into me.
This is not what you have come here for.
And affirmed what I already knew to be true in my heart of hearts, which is that the only kind of babies I want to make are these kinds. And that trip I took over to their alternate timeline gave me enough fortitude to push against the peer pressure and stand in my own clarity and say, no means no. And then I wrote this song. Please enjoy the raw reveal of Sad Smile.
Oh, we cannot walk the path of the sad smile. Always glad for what we had, but wondering how things might have been and what we might have tried.
If you get warm and fuzzy enjoying the work that I do here on Me and My Song, please go ahead and do all of the things that help independent artists like myself get our work out there. You know, like liking and subscribing, spreading the word, spreading the love, thumbs upping. Well, whatever you do, the most important thing in the whole wide world that I think you should do, no matter if it's out of style, out of range, or out of tune, you have got to, even when it's really, really hard to do, keep singing your song.
Me and my song.